What's up, horror lovers? I imagine this. It's midnight, and you're sitting alone in your house, casually playing a game on your PS4, when suddenly, the front door bursts open. Your heart skips a beat, the silence of the night shattered. It's your little sister, Yellow, and her friend Brown. They're laughing, but something feels off. They look shaken, like they've seen something they shouldn't have. They tell you they were out in the desert, near the mountain, at this time of night. Alone. No lights. No reason for two young girls to be wandering around out there. You joke, asking if they pissed off a snake. But when they exchange a glance and Brown whispers, "Do we tell her?" Followed by Yellow's, "Nah, she won't believe us." You know something's not right. As they quietly move into the kitchen, you follow them, demanding answers. What the hell happened out there? And that's when Yellow finally breaks. She tells you, with a mix of excitement and fear, "We saw huge tents, then people there." It doesn't sound like much at first, but then you hear the details. Giant, military-style tents, no vehicles in sight, no sign of anyone coming in or out. Something doesn't add up. But then, when Brown's voice trembles and she says, "We saw a man circling the camp, with no eyes, no nose, just a crooked smile," you realize this is no joke. At this point, your mind is racing. What the hell could they have encountered out there? And then things get even stranger. You start seeing the same SUV cruising by your house every hour. You tell yourself it's nothing, but after a few days, something else happens. A blood-curdling scream echoes through your neighborhood. It's not human. Then a gunshot. But when your neighbor calls the police, they don't show up. Not even after multiple calls. The response: the police are there, and they've been there for 20 minutes. But no one's seen them. It's like your whole town is sinking into something you can't explain. And the girl across the street? She's moving out. Alone. Her boyfriend's nowhere to be found. When you offer to help her load boxes into her van, she's friendly but distant. And then, she says something that chills you to the core. Don't trust the police. Don't trust the TV. And don't trust the animals. With that, she drives off, leaving you more confused than ever. The next night, you and Yellow head out into the desert to look for her cat. Your heart races, the mountain looming in the distance. You're both armed with flashlights, knives, and a baseball bat, ready for anything. But as you walk deeper into the desert, you hear it, the unmistakable meow of Yellow's cat. The problem? It's coming from the direction of those damn tents. As you and Green, Yellow's boyfriend, follow, you can feel the tension building. The mountain, the eerie memories of that night, it all comes flooding back. Then, through Green's binoculars, you see it. The tents. Huge. Military-like. But no people, just lights flickering from inside. You think you're hallucinating. But then, the sound of a truck pulling up, and figures that look like soldiers hopping out. They head toward the mountain, leaving you in eerie silence. But then, out of nowhere, Yellow's cat appears, seemingly unbothered. You laugh, relieved, but deep down, something still feels wrong. What was all that? Why were there military trucks near the mountain? Back at home, the cat behaves strangely, staring at the window all night, unnervingly fixated on something outside. And then the weirdest thing happens. Your mom discovers someone has broken into the fridge and eaten raw meat. At first, you think it's the cat, but when you look at the animal, there's something off. The cat's fur is matted with chunks of raw meat, and it seems to be acting differently. You try to brush it off, but that feeling of dread only intensifies. What could possibly be going on? Was it the cat, or something worse? The next day, you decide to return to the desert, with Green's binoculars in hand, determined to find answers. But when you get there, there's nothing. No tents, no people, only a coyote, sitting eerily still in the spot where the tents had been. Its eyes, those eyes look wrong. It stares at you with an intelligence that makes your skin crawl. And then it howls. But you don't hear the howl. You just feel the vibrations of it deep in your chest. It's like it's right behind you, stalking you. You take a step back. It takes a step forward. In that moment, you realize you're being hunted. You don't stop to think. You just run. You run faster than you've ever run in your life, the howling and growling close behind you. pushing you further and further away from safety. The moment your feet hit gravel, the noise stops. You turn around, only to see a tall man in a black trench coat walking slowly back toward the mountain, his face hidden behind dark sunglasses and a fedora. You freeze. He doesn't look back. He just disappears into the darkness. Back home, your mind races, filled with more questions than answers. Who was that man? What's going on in this town? And why does it feel like the entire place is wrapped in a web of lies and dark secrets? You can't shake the feeling that the worst is yet to come. Something is watching. Something is waiting. And it's far too close for comfort. Is this all just paranoia? Or has something truly evil taken root in this town? Something ancient? Something that wears the faces of people and animals alike? Lou's investigation might just be the last one anyone ever makes. Or it could be the beginning of something far worse. Ready for a nightmare-fueled journey? Imagine stumbling into an old country pub, the air thick with stale ale and time's dust, only to find yourself trapped in a living nightmare, cursed by a witch who haunted your every dream. Brace yourselves, because this story drags you into 5 years of relentless terror, where sleep becomes a battleground and every shadow hides her cold, leering grin. You think your bedroom is safe? Think again. She's waiting in the darkness, hungry for fear. The clairvoyant first encountered her in a dreamscape so vivid it felt like flesh and blood. She wandered into that dusty pub's back room, eyes drawn to an antique writing bureau. Suddenly, the floor betrayed her and her limbs buckled as if pulled by invisible claws. Panic roared in her veins, her heartbeat echoed in her ears, and the taste of acrid dread coated her tongue. Then came the chilling croak, a death rattle that curled her spine, and the hag's face drifted into view. Pale curls crowned a visage so beautiful it betrayed its true horror, a gaping black maw where flesh had torn itself apart. It was a grotesque masterpiece of decay, and its rattling promise of doom stole her scream before it could form. Weeks later, the witch struck again, this time dragging the clairvoyant into a violent street assault in her sleep. She felt the force of police pins and the cruel press of asphalt against her cheek. As blue-uniformed officers hauled her up, a crooked old crone shuffled through the crowd, hair matted, a filthy nightdress clinging to her skeleton frame. The clairvoyant knew that horribly familiar presence, and, before she could cry out, felt rotten teeth sink into her arm. She woke in agony, maggots writhing beneath her skin, a searing pain that vanished with the dawn. Yet the bite marks never appeared, only their invisible mark on her sanity. Hold onto your sanity, because the witch didn't stop at physical torment. Night after night, the clairvoyant felt hands at her throat, squeezing until the world darkened. She'd bolt upright, gasping for air, her lungs screaming betrayal. One lazy morning, half dreaming under her covers, she resisted the urge to peek over her shoulder. Instead, she felt an oppressive weight hanging above her, an opaque, brown mist in human shape, coiling like a snake ready to strike. She lay paralyzed as its formless body pulsated with malevolence, a living shadow pouring dread into her bones. As months dragged on, the witch twisted deeper into her psyche. In one dream, claws of fear slipped under the clairvoyant's ribs, squeezing her heart into a frantic dance of irregular beats. She felt each convulsion echo through her chest like a death knell, as if her heart itself trembled at the witch's command. She tried every ward, every chant, even slathered salt and herbs around her home, but the witch slipped through the cracks of reality into her dreams, laughing at her feeble defenses. By the end of those torturous nights, her spirit guides snuffed out her gifts to shield her mind, but at the cost of her connection to the other side. 3 silent years passed, an unholy calm that was as unsettling as the witch's assaults. The clairvoyant's world, once buzzing with spectral whispers, turned eerily mute. Then, with nothing but an innocent pregnancy, she cracked her psychic armor wide open. The witch sensed a shift and re-emerged, rapping at the window of her mind. In a dream, the quilt over her teetered like a macabre seesaw. Hovering above her, from beneath its shadow, a figure slithered, hair trailing like damp earth, and eyes glowing with ancient contempt. "You thought I was gone," it hissed, its voice a scalpel through her soul. The final dream came with a mercy she could barely tolerate. The clairvoyant awoke to feel her neck tighten, then lift off her bed as if gravity had gone mad. There, dangling beside her, was the witch's younger guise, porcelain skin and fair hair, framing eyes of cold indifference. No deformity marred that frozen face, only a look of bored detachment and defeat. The strangest sensation washed over her. The witch had tried, and yet somehow failed to crush her spirit completely. With that, the pressure slipped away, and the clairvoyant gasped herself awake for the last time. Some gifts curse as much as they bless. The line between dream and reality can be thinner than a whisper. Guard your sleep, shield your mind, and beware the shadows that yearn to slip between worlds. Because out there, right beyond the veil, there are entities that don't just haunt your nights, they own them. Imagine stepping onto a manicured lawn that smells faintly of antiseptic and rot, and feeling like the grass itself recoils beneath your boots. Picture a house so posh it boasts marble floors and a grand chandelier, yet drenched in an aura of pure dread, as if its very walls are watching you breathe. Welcome to the neighborhood where a respected doctor once attempted to perform surgery on himself, only to slice too deep, spilling his entrails across an immaculately kept foyer. That grisly scene left more than stains on the carpet. It left a curse that seems to thrive on despair. From the moment our narrator, then a fresh-faced police officer, rolled up to that upscale Virginia subdivision, something felt off. The homes gleamed under the sun, yet one in particular exuded a chill that no thermostat could replicate. Locals whispered about the ill-fated physician who, convinced of his own invincibility, numbed his midsection and carved out his own intestines in a catastrophic miscalculation. Paramedics found him clinging to life, grasping his discarded organs as though pleading for mercy, before finally succumbing to his horrific wound. Even seasoned officers couldn't shake the feeling that death had left a stain on that house, one that seeped into the walls and seeped into their very souls. Weeks later, the officer returned to that very address for a call that would shatter his nerves in new ways. A young woman named Emily, just 19, was discovered lifeless in the unfinished basement, swinging gently from a rafter's hook. Her face was a grotesque portrait of agony, lips curled back to reveal blue, bloated flesh. Empty energy drink cans littered the floor, their neon labels mocking the scene, and a Ouija board sat open on a coffee table, its planchette missing. It was as if Emily had gambled her soul on that board's flimsy wood, lost, and paid the ultimate price. The family upstairs was shattered. Emily's parents, distraught and wide-eyed, confessed they tried everything, counseling, medication, even moving rooms, but nothing quieted her obsession. Her older sister, tear-streaked and voice trembling, explained that Emily believed she'd made contact with her dead boyfriend through that cursed board. She downed energy drinks by the dozen to stay awake, waiting for his messages, until she claimed he begged her to join him beyond the veil. Why would anyone trust a flat piece of wood to ferry their spirit? But Emily did, and ended up dangling from a rafter, caught between two worlds. The curse didn't rest. Exactly 2 weeks later, same calendar date, the narrator raced to a bloody crime scene. A convertible BMW flipped and torn apart, 2 bodies grotesquely mangled. The driver, a woman, sat twisted in her seat, with her neck snapped like a broken twig. 25 feet away lay a man, his head obliterated, brain matter splattered in a nightmarish fresco across the asphalt. As the officer read his ID into dispatch, a chill froze his spine. This wasn't a random couple. These were Emily's parents, dead in the same split-second violence they'd once begged to save their daughter from a more intimate torment. Emily's grieving sister inherited the estate, the life insurance checks, even the bitter legacy of that cursed house. She sold everything, fled the neighborhood, hoping distance would sever the curse. But fate laughed. A month later, the officer was dispatched to another tragedy, a jogger struck by a car. The victim, the older sister herself, out for fresh air, unaware that death still shadowed her steps. She survived in a coma for weeks, enduring tubes, machines, a hospital room's sterile smell, only to slip away, leaving behind too many unanswered questions and 3 gruesome tombstones neatly spaced 2 weeks apart. Now retired and living states away, Our narrator still shudders at the memory of that house. Twice, he's discovered Ouija planchettes on his own sidewalk, cold, polished wood etched with letters of doom, only to flick them into storm drains with a stick, as if quarantining a virus. He refuses to touch them, but can't entirely wash the dread from his mind. Was it malevolent forces at play? A residual psychic imprint left by the doctor's autotomy gone wrong? Or did Emily peel back a veil that should remain forever closed? Whatever the truth, one thing is crystal clear. Some doors, once opened, refuse to be closed. Think twice before you scoff at urban legends or a harmless game with spirits. The next planchette you see might not just be wood. It could be the key to a realm that feeds on suffering, echoing with the last gasps of its victims. And if you feel a sudden chill, especially in an otherwise sunlit room, maybe it's not a draft, but a reminder that curiosity can slice deeper than any scalpel, and some houses harbor secrets that revel in life's final curtain. So keep your hands off that Ouija board, unless you're prepared to pay the price.